So the next thing on the music, on the musical lane, The Greatest Night in Pop on Netflix.
Oh, yes. I heard about this.
This because the age we all were, this is 1985. It's about the making of We Are the World. Okay. This is like berserk to hear some of the background on this. You're just like, this is crazy how this came together. So we all know the song Do They Know It's Christmas, which was the charity song produced by Bob Geldof. He also did Live Aid to raise money for the terrifying famine in Ethiopia. And you have to imagine, we did not have social media at this time. So you were learning about this famine on national, you had to watch the news.
Yeah.
And you'd hear about it. It was just horrific. So Bob Geldof did Do They Know It's Christmas Time at All, which, still you hear it every year at Christmas time.
Is that the name of the song, or is it We Are the World?
Do they know it's Christmas time? I can't sing the whole thing. No, We Are the World is another song.
Wait, what?
Exactly. So the Do They Know It's Christmas?
News to me.
Do They Know It's Christmas is a lot of British performers. It takes off, and it's to raise money for the famine in Ethiopia, right? So basically, Harry Belafonte, Deo, he's like, wait a minute. Why are all these British, I'm just going to say it, white people raising money for the famine in Ethiopia? Why aren't my black brothers and sisters, because he really transitioned from an actor, and they talk about this in the documentary, an actor to an activist.
Right.
So this was one of those things, he's like, why isn't the black community and the black artists raising money for the famine? We need to do something about this.
Oh.
So he calls in Ken Kragen, who was like a big known, it might have been a lawyer / manager. He had a management team, I think. And he had just taken on Lionel Richie, who had left the Commodores, on as a client. So Harry Belafonte goes to Ken Kragen, like, we got to do something here. What can we do? First of all, hello.
Hello. Calls him up and,
is it me you're looking for?
Yes, it is.
So Lionel Richie answered the call. And so he's the first one in. Like, we need you to write a song. Because what a lot of people don't know, even though he's the singer of the Commodores, he had written tons of songs during the Motown days. He is a prolific songwriter. So they're like, come on, and they were trying to get Stevie Wonder to write the song. But I guess Stevie Wonder, was very difficult to get a hold of. He was not answering the phone, not returning phone calls, and I don't know what to do.
I did see the trailer for this, and they didn't think he was going to show up on the day of.
Multiple people, I thought. So
anyway, I don't want to. It sounds amazing,
especially because this is sort of our era.
I remember this happening.
Behind the scenes and how this came together is berserk. So they bring in Quincy Jones. And Quincy, because, you might know him as a world-renowned music producer, did the Thriller album with Michael Jackson, among multiple other things. He's like, well, let me talk to Michael. Maybe he'll co-write this with you. So the writers of the song are Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson.
That's
produced
crazy.
by Quincy Jones. What? So they're like, how are we going to get all these people in a studio?
And that's the We Are the World song.
Yeah, so it's two different songs, Catherine.
I really didn't track that. What, John? I didn't know.
It's all right. In a couple minutes, we can go over this again.
Okay.
I will say, because the music videos that came out for both those songs were very similar. It was just a plethora of amazing musical artists is crammed into a room with headphones on and singing. So I could see, I actually was like, wait, it's two different. Oh, of course.
It seemed like the same thing. I don't know.
It's not, because the video in some ways was all around the same year. They just meshed together. And he's like, no. They were two separate things. So they're like, when can we pull this off? And they realize almost everybody's going to be in town for the American Music Awards. So they're like, we have to do it the night of, but after.
Oh.
And have everybody come by. So
amazing.
I mean, it is just the craziest night. It took place in January of 1985, and they all cram into a studio in Los Angeles. And Leave Your Egos at the Door was one of the big things, starting around 10:30 at night. The list of people that participated was insane. And it was I don't know, you might be there till 3:30, 5:30 in the morning. We're figuring out harmonies. We're trying to do all these type of things to make it work in the moment. But the list of participants: Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, Michael Jackson, a lot of the Jackson brothers, Billy Joel, Cyndi Lauper, Huey Lewis, Steve Perry, Diana Ross, Bruce Springsteen, Tina Turner. Stevie Wonder did show up. And I was watching this, I'm like, good for you, Sheila E. Well, poor Sheila E. So she had been dating Prince at the time. I mean, and she was well known at the time. I think it did have a hit written by Prince out. When she got in the room, she realized, oh, I think they wanted me to bring Prince, and I know he's not coming. Oh my God, this is kind of awkward.
Oh, no.
They're like, come on, Sheila, call Prince. See where Prince is at. Come on, can you get a hold of Prince? She's like, yeah.
Oh, no.
And Prince, I guess, was like, oh, I could never sing in a room like with everybody. If you can give me a guitar solo in the other room, they're like, we cannot deal with you right now. I mean, they should have made something work with
Some
him.
concession.
I mean, like the Pointer Sisters were there, like Kenny Loggins and like Kenny Rogers. So two Kennys, I think I said one of them already before. But like Smokey Robinson was in the chorus. And then like you have people like Dan Aykroyd. Like, really?
What?
But I guess Bob Geldof did come.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, wait, also back to the Prince part of it, didn't Huey Lewis end up taking, because they had assigned different parts to different people. So Huey Lewis basically was like, he ended up doing the Prince part on the day.
With Cyndi Lauper and Kim Carnes. Talk about a lot of raspiness. But, and there's a great meme. They show Michael Jackson in his full, like, bejeweled military type of coat, a glove, I think, and like his glasses. And, you know, they're a different singing style than him, those three, and they're like hitting all these like like notes, and he is just like but a lot of people say Huey Lewis created like the harmony or like one of the melody moments of it. So you're like, I mean, I do like that moment. I think it sounds great. And Cyndi Lauper, I guess management was like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
And then somebody grabbed her at the AMAs or somewhere, was like, you got to do it. So she came, and it's like actually like, you know, when she gets in, it's like a very good moment. So it's just because it's 1985 and just how this happened. For example, like Bob Dylan had a very hard time even singing his part, and there's an interesting story how that he gets it out of him involving Stevie Wonder. So it's just incredible how it all came together and ended up raising like tens of millions of dollars for African relief. And some of it was through merch, and I think it won like tons of Grammys that year too.
Amazing.
So, you know, it's a commercial project that obviously had a heart and a message behind it. And Lionel Richie, he's like the narrator throughout, like providing like such fascinating insight. I mean, and you're like, God, that guy's so talented. So the greatest night in pop.
I have a question.
So fascinating.
It sounds amazing. So it's obviously interviews contemporary, talking about that time.
Right.
They shot enough footage that they could have done a documentary. Like, why did they wait so long? That's so interesting. Maybe they just shot it because they were shooting the video, stringing it together with interviews and that footage.
Yeah, that's
really
basically
smart.
So there's found footage, and it's also footage that is, say if they're talking about a particular artist or Lionel Richie is reflecting upon something, they will show other footage.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just reliant, although how ingenious of them, but I think it was because do they know it's Christmas? They had done something similar where they got them in the recording studio and they just filmed it. They filmed it.
Yeah.
So, and you're talking about hours upon hours. It went from like 10:30 at night to like morning hours.
Yeah.
So
they
there
had a lot of
was
footage
a lot
to
of footage.
work with.
Yes, exactly. So really fun, especially of a certain age. Like my son who's 15 walked in and was like, who's that? And it was like,
Which, of course, we are like, I know every single person.
oh, yeah. And the person he asked about, I was like, oh, God. Like, I failed as a parent. That you
Do
don't
I really want to get
it
into
was,
that?
I mean, I'm going to say it, Bruce Springsteen. Like,
Oh,
he didn't
no.
know who it was.
Oops.
So, yeah. And I will say people really did put their ego aside. And it was an awesome blend of, you know, just heavy hitters in the industry.
I'm not surprised that he didn't know who the boss was, given, you know, the household that he lives in. You're the boss.
But shh. No, there's a couple Bruce Springsteen songs you need to have in your repertoire of life. So I've got some work to do, people.
Yeah, get on it, Liz.
There you go.